Oh, hi. Thanks for joining me. It would be good to know if you can hear me. If you just want to pop something in the comments just to let me know. And if you're watching this on replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments as well, which would be really helpful. So I'm gonna be looking to try and help you all through this really quite tough, difficult period. I mean, we're self-isolating already. We're at home. I'm trying not to go out at all. Just to trying to limit the number of times I'm going to the supermarket, perhaps, but that's about it. I've moved all my work online and through video. I'm in a very lucky position, really, that I can easily work from home. I can easily service my clients through video, phone, email, loads of different tools, and so I'm really lucky in that way to be able to do that. So, but I'm guessing you're not all in that position, and some of you are quite concerned, quite worried, anxious, wondering what you should be doing, and I want to try and help you. So this is focused at business owners, probably small to mediums. I'm guessing that some of the larger businesses will already have crisis comms in place, but also they'll already have business continuity and disaster recovery things in place. But what I want to do is provide some really practical advice, practical questions, the questions that you need to be asking yourself to get through this, and where are the opportunities, and the goal here is, how are you going to survive? Can you consider the opportunities? How are you going to recover afterwards? So important from the crowd. And I understand that all of you will be in all sorts of different positions. Some of you will be in, literally in war survival mode. Get it, fully get it. I've been speaking to lots and lots of different businesses in the last week, and there's lots of pain, there's lots of concern. But what I'm trying to do is give you the tools to try and think to try and think clearly in this situation, and to give you some really practical advice and some really practical tips. So feel free to ask questions, feel free to get involved. Please share this if you find it helpful. I'm going to give you as you can imagine, I'm quite busy at the moment. I've got my own clients to service. So things will be a bit slow. I'm going to create a link, because I've got a resource that I'm going to send with this video, so that you've got everything that I talk about will be on some kind of spreadsheet. I'm going to put it on, but also put some blog together for you as well. We've also developed some a couple of groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, so the Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Support groups. And the idea of those is to support local businesses. We've partnered with a number of different businesses to try and give really expert advice and expert help just when it's needed. Some of you might have seen my ramble video yesterday. Probably worth watching. There's some sort of thoughts and topics that might be worth getting some of helping you answer some of those questions, because there's so many questions. But not a lot of people got answers, and the experts don't have the answers either. And so it's about really trying to find the people that do know the answers. And as I said, I've been spending a lot of time on this over such a short period, but many hours, speaking to many people, reading lots of things, scrutinizing insurance contracts, scrutinizing the business loans that the government's talking about, scrutinizing all sorts of different things. I've got different topics that I am considering doing. It would be good to know the sort of things that you want to know. So the sort of things that the other topics that I'm going to be covering over the next few days, things like layoffs, business insurance. I'm a marketing consultant. I'm not here to sell marketing. I'm here to help support businesses. I'm here to help you get through this. I'm here to help you survive, consider opportunity, recover afterwards, and differentiate. But the topics that I'm thinking of going through are layoffs. So if you do need to lay off, what's the story there? Business insurance. If you do have business insurance, there's some things that I've learned in that area. Freelancers and self-employed. Perhaps you're just watching out of curiosity and you're a freelancer or self-employed. I've got some tips for you and some practical advice. Differentiation. How can you differentiate as a business during this period? Could you consider doing some kind of clever marketing, some kind of scrappy marketing? It was seen that in that Kellogg's took a great opportunity when there was I can't remember the name of the disaster at the time, and they doubled their spend at the time. Everyone else stopped their spend, but Kellogg's won and became the leader of the pack. Anyway, that's a small part. And then business loans. So I've been looking at the government's business loans, and I've got quite an opinion on it really, and lots of thought on it. But I can't cover everything all in one go. So I thought, where's the best place to start? And I thought the best place to start really is what's the practical questions that every business needs to be asking themselves. And I've cut it down into 6 areas. So the 6 key areas within your business that you need to be thinking about and asking questions to yourself, and trying to come up with some answers, and taking this as an opportunity to become robust, to move forward, and to survive, but also to come out of it with a good recovery. So let's make a start. So as I said, there's 6 areas. Number 1, then they're in no particular order, and I think every business is different, and I think some of these questions may not be relevant. You might need to ask yourself further questions, but I'm hoping that the majority of these questions fit most SMEs and most business owners, and so it's around sort of giving you some practical start really. So there's 6 areas, no particular order. I'm going to start with staff. So staff, and the goal there is how you're going to be fair, how you're going to be resourceful, and how you're going to be responsible. I think those are the key things that I think you need to be thinking about doing. And some really simple stuff. Do you have everyone's contact details in a clear format? Have you got everyone's mobile number? Have you got everyone's email address? Have you got a very easy? Have you got emergency contacts for these people? You should be looking at some online HR tools, but at the very basics, just some kind of Excel spreadsheets that you've got a very quick answer to some of these questions. If you can work from home, I'm going to be talking about lots of different scenarios, and I've talked with lots of different businesses. So as I said, some of these questions are relevant, some of them are not. But if you can ask people to work from home, do they have the equipment that they need? Do they have laptops, mobiles? If you've got people working from home, do you have a policy for home working? Because you will be liable for it, and so it would be worth just putting a quick policy together, and also thinking about being reflective on how much work they're going to be doing, and therefore, the salary, does that need adjusting? And we'll talk about layoffs and redundancies and reduced pay and all sorts of different things over the coming weeks. So the other thing that we've got is, do we consider laying off staff? And which obviously is not something that we've probably ever thought about, not something that we have ever considered, and so I'm going to be doing a video all about layoffs. So do we need to consider laying off? Do we consider redundancies? As I said, the big thing here is, how are we going to be fair? How are we going to be resourceful? How are we going to be responsible to our staff? So that would be number 1, staff. Don't know if any of you have any thoughts or questions so far. And as I said, if this is helping, please like, share, subscribe, so that you ensure that you don't miss any more. As I said, I'm going to be sharing a link to a resource where you've got all these questions in some kind of spreadsheet. I'll put a blog together as well. So if you've got comments, if you've got thoughts, what other questions do you think you need to be thinking about and helping? So we've covered number 1 of 6. We're going to cover in this video. So number 1 was staff, and that's about how to be fair, be resourceful, be responsible. Next thing to think about is suppliers. Here, I think the goal for suppliers is negotiate, forward think, and could you partner with anyone? So I think that, again, I'm trying to come up with some practical, simple things that you need to be asking yourself. So the first thing is, have you got a supplier list? Just in maybe an Excel sheet, who the supplier is, the contact details, maybe their emergency contact details. Do you rely on them? How much do you need them? How much do you owe them? Can you have a conversation with them to put some kind of payment plan in place? Are you, if you're unable to supply, if they're unable to supply to you, who would you go to? What bills have to be paid no matter what, and what can be temporarily reduced? So how can you cut costs and keep that all important cash in the business? If you owe money to HMRC, or you're about to owe money to HMRC, look at time to pay. Put something in place so that you can reduce your overhead over a short period of time. Can you minimize any other overhead separately? And what if some suppliers went out of business, especially for current work in progress, for example? What would you do? So have you got a backup plan? Have you got other suppliers in place if needed? And what external suppliers or partners does your business depend on? Could you work with any of them? Could you have conversations? Pick up the phone. They're in the same boat. They're having the same problems. Could you work together on something? Could you, and I'm going to come on to differentiating. I'm going to come on to standing out from the crowd, taking the most out of this opportunity. So we've covered staffing. Suppliers we've just talked about, which was about negotiating, forward thinking, partnering. If this is helping, please let me know. Like if you can. Someone's just commented here, Sky are allowing you to suspend subscriptions to Sky Sports with no penalty whilst support is suspended. That's really good to know. I think that's Jason, actually. So that's good to know. I think there's so many bills that you can suspend. I think utilities, mortgages, there's so many, and now's the time, by the way. Don't wait till you can't pay. Now is the time, and I wouldn't worry about your credit rating. I think everyone's going to be in the same problem. Hopefully the government will legislate something around that anyway, but I think now's the time to act, and now's the time to pause some of these things to give yourself that breathing space that we all need. So we've covered staffing, we've covered suppliers. That's 2 out of 6. Next thing is IT and buildings. Now, when I talk, a lot of this is about, for me, it's about business continuity and disaster recovery. If you were to Google disaster recovery, you'll find that it's all very techie, very IT. It's all about backup. It's all about your IT infrastructure. For me, I'm trying to bring this into a more practical, lower level, small business owner, medium business owner. This is a disaster. How are we going to recover? Having said that, we've put these groups together. So the Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Support groups on LinkedIn and Facebook, you'll be able to find them. We've partnered up with a number of people, a number of experts, and one of those experts is Virtual DCS. They absolutely specialize in business continuity and disaster recovery. So I don't want to step on their toes here, but I'm coming at it from a really low-level, practical, simple, simplistic point of view to get some of those questions and some of those thoughts going. So I'd signpost you to Virtual DCS if you're looking to implement some of these things at a higher level. But IT and buildings, so there's sort of, I've put these two together. What's the goal there? I think first of all, you need to be aware of what IT you've got and or haven't got. More importantly, so what data do you have that's maybe not in the cloud, for example, and how can you be hygienic? if you're going to carry on business, you are going to absolutely have to get across. Well, first of all, you've got to be hygienic to ensure that you can keep staff levels. But secondly, you need to be hygienic to ensure that you can get across confidence to your customers and clients. So IT in buildings, it's about being aware, it's about be hygienic, and it's about digitalizing. And yes, you should have already done it. Some businesses have, some haven't, but now is the time, if you haven't, to really put some of these things in place. So for me, if you're able to do these things and survive, you'll come out far stronger with a much better business, far more rewarding afterwards. And for me, I take this as an opportunity to really, go into survival mode. Yes, some of you are calling more. At the same time, can you put some stuff in place to come out absolutely fighting? So IT in buildings, point 3, be aware. This is the goal here: be aware, be hygienic, digitalize. So what if you had to close the building for a considerable amount of time? Is there anything in the building that you need? Is there anything that if it was closed for a long time, what would be a problem there? I don't know if you're going to still receive post, as an example. Does it matter? Now, the reason I've asked that question is maybe you get paid by check. Well, that's a problem. So you need to think about how you can change processes for payments. Even I'm going to come on to that afterwards anyway. If you need whatever happens, I think you need absolute full remote access, off-site access to every bit of data you've got. So that's around what systems you've got, finance, customer details, order details, invoicing, files, everything in HR, everything and anything needs to be in the cloud. Absolutely needs to be in the cloud, so that you or anyone relevant can access it wherever they are. So that's sort of like an immediate need, I think. And there's so many tools out there, and I can help if you've got specific questions, or if you've got you're looking for specific advice. If this is helping, please please share, please let other people know that that this is the advice that people are needing. So we've talked about. We're on point 3, the IT in buildings. We've talked about how everything needs to be in the cloud. How can you increase hygiene in the premises? How can you increase communication between staff and customers? So what are the ways that customers can communicate? What's the most effective way? Do you want customers to email? Do you want customers to text? Do you want customers to video? What is the most effective way for you and your staff and your customers? What's the best way into trying to think of putting something in place there? What internal comms do you have? How are you going to keep that team ethos, keep that team, the word's gone out of my mind, but how are you going to keep that? It's annoying me. Anyway, what are you going to, there's things like WhatsApp, there's things like Slack, Skype, Microsoft Teams. There's so many things. I know that Virtual DCS, for example, are offering a 6-month subscription on virtual Microsoft Teams free of charge right now to help out. There's all sorts of different things that you could look at introducing, but you need some kind of internal comms. Email is not going to work. Email is so insular. It doesn't allow that conversation, and what you tend to find is that some people just don't get involved, and because other people are sort of taken over, email does not work. You need to consider software, cloud CRM, accounting software, as I said, cloud, all of this being cloud, video, instant chat, project management tools, all sorts of different things. So we've covered 3 points here. We've covered staffing, we've covered suppliers, we've covered IT and buildings. I'm going to be sending you this in an Excel sheet and hopefully a link to a blog with a bit more information. And I'm going to be doing lots more videos over time. Some of the topics that I'm going to be covering are things like digitalization, layoffs, business insurance, freelancers and self-employed for those of you that might be watching that are curious, Facebook advertising, and business loans are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. And so it'll be good to know the type of things that are more priority for you, and any questions you've got, and sort of the areas that you need the help with. We've looked at staffing, suppliers, IT, and buildings. We've got 3 left. So the next, and it's in no significant order, no importance, depends on your business. So we're going to look at processes next. The goal here, I think, is increased opportunities and better consistency. So again, some of you might be lucky that you've got processes in place. I think a lot of businesses don't, unfortunately. So it's about, do enough staff know enough of your internal processes? Do you need to cross skill? Are you reliant on one particular person that can do this part of the job? If they're off ill, who's going to take over and who's going to know these things? And they're not going to be in the office just to answer that question necessarily. Can you use different process to increase cash flow? So I talked about, if you still take checks and they arrive in the post, you need to, vastly quickly move away from that. How can you set up some online facility, whether it be direct debits? Can you take deposits, bigger deposits up front to try and bring some cash back in? And talk to your clients, talk to your customers. Now's the time to be chasing money as well. I'm afraid it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for all of us. And but I'm trying to give you the tools as a business to survive here. And as I said, it's about not just survival, but it's about considering opportunity, recovering afterwards, and absolutely differentiating yourselves. Can you find easier ways to pay, which is what I've just been talking about? What key staff are what are the key staff that are customer contacts, for example? Do they need to share information between colleagues to make sure that if people are taken ill, people know where things are up to? And what would happen if one of your main members of staff wasn't available? So we've covered staff, we've covered suppliers, we've covered IT and buildings, we've covered processes. There's two more left, and we look at services and products. So this is really well, every business is different, so never mind it being really important, they're all important. So the goal here on services and products, first of all, how are you going to survive? How are you going to keep money coming in? How are you going to stand out from the crowd, and how can you adapt? And I think these are the things that some businesses aren't considering because they're so stuck in war mode that they don't see any light at all. And I think now's the time to really consider this part as well, and to really think about what could you be doing differently to ensure that you survive but recover as well. So how can you differentiate? Thinking about all your different products and services, thinking about your clients, thinking about your customers. What are the things that you could do differently? What are the problems people are going to have? People are going to have very different problems, but they're also going to have a lot of space. They're also going to have a lot of space, and they're also going to get bored. And who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. But there are going to be some people that are going to have time on their hands that are looking to maybe start a project, or maybe do something that they've been meaning to do, and they're considering how they can come out of this and be robust and recover. And I think there will absolutely be opportunities in this. There absolutely will be opportunities in this. And it's annoying me. I'm just going to see if I can quickly find it. So bear with me just 1 second here. I'm at home. I apologize for the background. I probably need to think about getting a green screen. I don't think I want to spend 190 quid on a green screen right now. So I think you can sort of live with some beautiful wallpaper. So let's just have a look if I can find exactly what I was looking for. So this was, so it was interesting because as I said, I've been doing tons of reading in a very short period of time, looking at all sorts of different areas of businesses. But one of the things I came across, this is it here, during the Great Depression. A perfect example. Most companies totally stopped spending on media and advertising, and it was Kellogg's that doubled their investment during this time, and as a result, Kellogg's grew their profit by 30%, and they emerged the category leader. So you might not be the Kellogg's, but you could be the Kellogg's, and it's about, this is your chance. You've got to be scrappy. You've got to not spend too much. You've got to be very careful. But this is the chance to be able to zigzag ahead of the crowd and ultimately differentiate. So services and products, how can you differentiate? What opportunities might there be, and what could be done from home? So if you don't believe, if your business doesn't feel like it can be done from home, I'd challenge it. And I fully appreciate that some businesses won't be able to, but I'd challenge it anyway and say, is there anything at all? Can you rethink? I've heard of restaurants selling toilet paper and hand gel. You know, can you rethink the model? Can you rethink what you could be doing here, and really trying to break the mold? So we've covered 5 areas. How are we doing? Hopefully this is helping. If it is, please subscribe so you don't miss future ones. Please like, share, comment, tell me what you're thinking. If you're watching it back on replay, put hashtag replay in there for me. Join the groups. We've set up 2 business support groups: Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Support. Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Support groups on LinkedIn and Facebook. It would be great to have you in there. We're looking to give you really practical advice from experts. There's lots of misinformation around at the moment, but we're hoping to really fill some of those areas. Some of the future videos that I'm going to be doing over the coming days will be anything from digitalization, layoffs, business insurance, differentiation, how to do this all online, and business loans. Some interesting stuff I've been looking at the government there. I've got some quite strong opinion, and I just need a bit more time to understand a couple more elements, but certainly future videos. And in fact, there's so much information here that I can't just put it all into one video. Even this is a fair amount, and because of that, I've got a spreadsheet that I'm going to be sharing afterwards with everything that I've been discussing. So we've covered 5 areas. We've covered services and products, staff, suppliers, IT and buildings, and processes. The last area, probably, well, no, I was about to say the most important. They're all just as important, and it depends on your business. So customers and clients. Wow. Okay. So, what's the goal here? What is the goal? Well, the goal is, how are you going to communicate? How are you going to build confidence? And how are you going to be accessible? These are really, really important things. And most businesses are not fully considering this yet because they're stuck in some of the really difficult stuff: layoffs, redundancy, etc., etc. But if you want to fight, if you want to survive, if you want to recover, then you need to look at opportunities, differentiating, and putting some really robust stuff in place. So customers and clients, I think the goal is communicate, build confidence, be accessible. So the questions: if you have premises, do you need some kind of signage on the door, just to let people know what's going on? Simple thing, but have you thought about it? Do you have a clear list of customers? Again, it needs to be in the cloud, maybe on an Excel sheet for now, but you need to be looking at a CRM if you don't have one. You need the contact details, more importantly, email addresses. What are you telling your clients and customers? You need to be building confidence. You need to be showing that you are putting plans in place. You need to be demonstrating that you are able to still service. You need to be demonstrating that that you are there to help. And so, what are you telling your customers and clients? And in fact, the question there could be, well, how are you going to tell them? How are you going to communicate? You have some way of doing email marketing, text messaging. How are you going to tell them that you're closing? How are you going to tell them that you've got capacity, limited capacity? What do you need to tell them? What have you realized that you could do differently, and you need to tell your clients or customers that you could be doing? So what new services or products could you be offering? And you need to get that across. A great bit of advice that I saw yesterday was, we've all got similar hopes and fears right now. It's a really, really tough time. It's bleak. And now's the time to pick up the phone. An email's okay, but the phone can make a big difference. Speak to your clients, speak to people that could be your clients. Whilst we're talking to customers and clients, I've already mentioned it, but it's around chasing debtors as well urgently. It's if people owe you money, You need to make sure there's a process in place, make sure that you're putting some payment plans in place, and trying to secure that cash flow. How are we making ourselves fully accessible to customers and clients? Is it obvious how to still contact you? Do you want people to contact you in a different way? So, for example, a lot of home workers, a lot of companies are saying, please email us, because phones are obviously difficult. It's people's personal mobile phones, etc. And for now, we're asking for people to email, for example. Or can you be clever and put some other things in place? And can you get some work phones or other systems in place? And in fact, I'd just be recommending online video using the internet. Zoom would be my choice, but lots of different things really. And how are you giving them the confidence? How are you giving them the confidence that you are robust and that you're preparing and that you've got plans? Do you need to be putting some messaging on your website? Do you need to be putting some message on social media? So we've covered 6 areas there. I've got a link to I think it's an Australian government link from the Australian government, disaster resilience for pandemic risk management, and it's so helpful. So I'm going to include that in what I share. I'm going to send this out. Make sure you follow my social media. To get a link, in fact, afterwards, I'll edit the description on here, perhaps, so that you've got a link to all these resources. Join the groups, as I said, so the Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Group. Search for it on LinkedIn or Facebook. If this has been helpful, please like, please share, please tell other people, please comment, please let me know what you'd like. Please make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, because I am going to be doing more videos on digitalization, layoffs, business insurance, even Facebook advertising could be an opportunity. You might be thinking, there's no way, I haven't got a penny for that. That's fine. Some people might want Facebook advertising. Some people might need layoffs. So, it just depends what you're needing right now. And business loans. As I said, I've been looking at business loans. I've got some quite strong opinion. I'm not convinced that the government is the confidence it's giving out. I'm not convinced is the right message now that I've had time to look at the business interruption loans. And I'm going to be giving some thoughts on that in future videos. I hope this has been helpful. I really do, but I'd like to know, so please let me know. As I said, hit the subscribe button and keep well. Look after yourselves. Stay at home if you can. I realise a lot can't, though. And thank goodness for our frontline key workers, including even people in the supermarkets. So I'm not just talking NHS, I'm talking all the way through. So thank you to them as well. And I will see you again online very soon. Thank you so much for coming, and I really hope it's been helpful. All right, take care. Bye-bye.